Listen up, you sorry bastards, because what I'm about to tell you will either wake you the fuck up or you'll keep living the same mediocre life you've been living for decades. And if that's the case, that's fine. But don't ever say you didn't hear the truth. Don't ever cry to your kids, your grandkids, your goddamn dog, "Oh, I could have been more, I could have made millions, I could have changed the game." No, you fucking didn't. And you know why? Because you were too afraid to make the move. The move that separates the boys from the men, the girls from the women, the winners from the sorry-ass losers filling up cubicles and coffee shops all over the goddamn world. 87% of the planet hates what they do. That's a fucking fact. You look in the mirror every morning and you don't just hate yourself because you're fat, because you're gray, because you're balding. You hate yourself because deep down, you know you could have been something else. You know you could have been a killer, a millionaire, a man or woman who actually fucking mattered. But instead, you played it safe. You stayed comfortable. You stayed afraid. And here's the punch to the gut. There's one move, one decision, one leap you're terrified to make. It could be quitting that shit job, starting that business, making that investment, moving to that city, finding that mentor, picking up the goddamn phone and dialing someone who could change your life. But you don't. You stay paralyzed. You let the fear of looking stupid, the fear of rejection, the fear of failure chain you to the fucking floor like a whipped dog. And I'm here to tell you, if you don't break those chains now, you'll die with them still wrapped around your neck. Let me tell you something about regrets, kids. I've got 3. Only 3. 1, I was a combat-trained officer who never saw combat. That was out of my control. Vietnam ended before I could get blood on my hands. 2, I yelled at my mother the night before she died. She was sick. I told her she wasn't going to die, and the next fucking morning she was gone. And 3, I didn't set my goals high enough. Those are real regrets, not that bullshit. I missed my daughter's prom, or I didn't clap at my son's soccer game. Nobody gives a fuck about that on their deathbed. You care about the shots you didn't take. You care about the moves you were too afraid to make. Now let me ask you something. What were you doing at 28 years old? Some kid I know, 28 years old, net worth of $125 million. What the fuck were you doing at 28? Drinking cheap beer, scrolling porn, crying about how unfair life is? That's the truth, isn't it? You wasted your 20s. You wasted your fucking prime. And if you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, guess what? You're still wasting it. You're waiting for permission to move. But nobody's going to give you permission. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody cares. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. You hang around with monkeys, your life becomes a fucking circus. That's not poetry. That's reality. Bill Gates doesn't hang out with losers. Elon Musk doesn't go grab beers with broke nobodies complaining about rent. Warren Buffett doesn't call up your Uncle Joe for stock advice. Yet you surround yourself with average, broke, lazy motherfuckers and wonder why you're stuck. Would you want your kids to be like your 2 best friends? No? Then why the fuck are you around them? You want to know why you don't make the millionaire move? Because you're too worried about being liked. You're too worried about what people think. You're scared to look stupid, to fall on your face, to get laughed at. And so you play it safe. You stay polite. You stay normal. But let me hammer this into your skull. Nobody remembers normal. Nobody builds statues for nice guys. Nobody writes history about the middle of the pack. They only remember the killers. They only remember the ones who had the balls to make the move. The first impression you give is how you look. Most of you look like shit. That's the truth. You dress like you don't give a fuck about yourself, and then you wonder why banks won't give you money, why investors won't trust you, why people won't follow you. If you want money, dress like the fucking president. Unless you're from some backwater shithole where the president looks like a clown, then dress like a real leader. The second impression is how you speak. Most of you mumble, stutter, sweat, and ramble. Nobody trusts that. Nobody invests in that. Nobody follows that. And you wonder why you're broke. You think self-esteem just shows up one day? No. Self-esteem is built in the first 7, 8 years of your life. Mommy and daddy fucked you up. They didn't know how to build self-esteem. They didn't know how to make you strong. They told you to be safe, to be polite, to not take risks. And so here you are, soft, weak, full of excuses, paralyzed by fear. And you don't even realize that's the very reason you're terrified to make the millionaire move. Here's the difference between you and the killers I mentor. They do what they don't want to do. They don't give a fuck if it's hard, if it's uncomfortable, if it's boring. They do do it because that's what it takes. You avoid the hard shit. You run from it. You want it easy. You want it comfortable. You want to scroll TikTok, jerk off, eat pizza, and still somehow end up rich. Guess what? It doesn't fucking work like that. If you're in sales, you should be making 300 cold calls a day. Not 20, not 50, 300. And yeah, it's boring. It's painful. It makes your throat hurt. But you do it because that's what it takes. One of my mentees made a $50 million deal. You know how? 2,000 cold calls. That's it. He told me, Dan, if you just told me I was 2,000 calls away from 50 million, I would have wired you 20 grand as a thank you and started dialing immediately. That's the millionaire move. Doing what the other lazy fucks won't. You don't ask, you don't get. That's a principle my mentor drilled into me, and it applies everywhere. You don't ask the bank, you don't get the loan. You don't ask the investor, you don't get the money. You don't ask the girl, you don't get the date. But you're too scared to ask. You're too scared to look dumb, so you sit there with your thumb up your ass, dreaming about a life you'll never have. I've been around the big hitters, real killers, billionaires, world changers, and they're all the same. Hard, obsessed, ruthless. They don't sleep 8 hours. They don't binge Netflix. They don't take weekends off. They fucking grind. And you sit here wondering why you're not like them. The reason is simple. You're afraid to pay the price. You're afraid to make the move. And let me make this clear. If I walk out of here with you liking me, I failed. I'm not here to be your buddy. You want a friend, go buy a fucking dog. I'm here to drag your sorry ass across the finish line whether you like it or not. That's what the millionaire move requires. Somebody to shove your head into the fucking fire until you either burn or forge into steel. Now here's the kicker. The world doesn't give a shit if you succeed. It doesn't give a shit if you fail. You think the universe is rooting for you? Wrong. It's rooting against you. It wants to break you. And unless you grow some balls and finally make the move you've been afraid to make, you'll stay broken. So here's my question for you. When your grandkids ask you 20 years from now, Grandpa, what were you doing during the greatest transfer of wealth in history? Grandma, where were you when fortunes were made and lives were changed? What the fuck are you going to say? That you were scrolling Instagram? That you were scared? That you were waiting for the perfect time? The millionaire move is right in front of you. And every day you don't make it. Every day you stay afraid. Every day you lie to yourself. You're digging your own grave. And when you're in that grave, when the dirt's falling on your face, you won't be thinking about your kid's soccer game. You'll be thinking about the move you never had the guts to make. You want to know the sick truth? Most of you motherfuckers will leave this room, this video, this whatever, and do absolutely fucking nothing. You'll nod, you'll clap, maybe you'll even feel a little motivated, but by tomorrow morning, you'll be back scrolling TikTok, drinking Starbucks, and talking yourself out of the move. That's the disease of this generation. No follow through, no balls, just excuses stacked on excuses until you suffocate under the weight of your own bullshit. And don't give me that crap about opportunity. You're living in the greatest time in human history to build wealth. Period. You've got the internet, global access, AI, crypto, fucking everything at your fingertips. And what do you do with it? Selfies, Netflix binges, gaming marathons, jerking off in front of a computer screen. You're not using the tools. You're letting the tools use you. That's why you're broke. That's why you're stuck. That's why you're too fucking afraid to make the move. I'll tell you something else. Self-esteem is the bedrock of high performance, and most of you don't have it. You never did. Your parents didn't build it in you. They couldn't because they didn't have it themselves. They told you to be safe, to be nice, to not take risks. They told you not to dream too big, not to fly too high, not to make too much noise. They clipped your wings before you ever had a chance to fly. And now you're 30, 40, 50, still blaming them, still hiding behind that excuse. But guess what? Mommy and daddy aren't here anymore. It's your life now, and you're still a fucking coward. I've mentored kids who broke through to billionaires, Bill Gates, Musk, big names. They got through. You know why? Because they didn't stop knocking. They didn't stop asking. They didn't stop pushing. Meanwhile, you won't even send a cold email because you're afraid it might get ignored. You don't want to look dumb. Let me make this clear. The number one reason you're not rich is because you're terrified of rejection. You'd rather stay comfortable and broke than uncomfortable and wealthy. That's the raw fucking truth. And here's another slap in the face. Your habits suck. Every one of them. You sleep in, you eat shit food, you scroll social media, you hang out with losers, and then you wonder why your life looks like a dumpster fire. Success leaves clues, motherfuckers. Musk works 100 hours a week. Bezos worked in a garage until his hands bled. Steve Jobs obsessed over every detail until he was half insane. Henry Ford was a hard bastard who didn't care about being liked. And you're looking for balance, for peace, for self-care. You want a gold medal lifestyle with bronze medal effort? That's why you're nothing. Let me tell you about courage. Most of you haven't shown an ounce of it in your entire lives. When was the last time you actually did something that scared the shit out of you? For most of you, the answer is never. You've never taken a real risk. You've never stood up, never swung, never fought back. You're afraid of being punched in the mouth, figuratively and literally. You've lived so safe that the thought of losing makes you piss your pants. And yet, you sit here wondering why you're invisible. If someone spat in your wife's face, your daughter's face, your mother's face, what would you do? Most of you would rationalize it. Maybe he was having a bad day. Maybe he came from a bad neighborhood. Maybe he needs help. Are you fucking crazy? Where I come from, there's only one answer. You put the motherfucker through the pavement or you die trying. That's courage. That's backbone. That's what it takes to make the move. But you don't have that. You've been neutered by society, by your parents, by yourself. And don't tell me about bad luck. You don't have bad luck. You have bad habits. You're not cursed. You're fucking lazy. You sabotage yourself every single day. You dress like shit. You talk like shit. You think like shit. And then you blame the economy, the government, your boss, your parents, the fucking stars. That's not bad luck. That's you. That's why you're too afraid to move. The millionaire move isn't about luck. It's about balls. It's about taking the leap when every cell in your body is screaming at you to stay comfortable. It's about dialing 300 numbers a day until your fingers bleed. It's about knocking on doors until your knuckles crack. It's about asking until you get told no 1,000 times, then asking again. That's how the world works. You don't get what you deserve. You get what you demand. I've seen kids make millions because they had the audacity to keep asking. And I've seen grown men die broke because they were too scared to look stupid. Which one are you? Most of you think you're going to live forever. You're not. You think you've got time. You don't. You're running out of fucking time. Every day you delay. Every day you hesitate. Every day you stay afraid. You're closer to the grave. And when you're in that box, nobody's going to care how safe you played it. Nobody's going to clap because you tried. They'll forget you because you never made the move. Do you want to be remembered or forgotten? That's the question, because the only people remembered are the ones who acted, the ones who risked, the ones who stepped into the fire when everyone else was too afraid. And here's the brutal truth. You already know the move you need to make. It's been in your head for years. It's been eating you alive, and yet you keep ignoring it, hiding from it, running from it. How much longer are you going to run? Until you're old, bitter, and full of regrets? I don't care if you like me. In fact, if you walk out of here liking me, I failed. I'm not here to be your friend. I'm here to shove your face into the reality you keep avoiding. I'm here to drag you across the line, whether you kick and scream or not. Because if you don't make the move, your kids will suffer. Your grandkids will suffer. Your whole fucking bloodline will suffer because you were too afraid to do what needed to be done. Think about that. When your grandkids ask you, what did you do during the greatest transformation of wealth in history? What are you going to say? That you were too scared? That you waited? That you wasted it? That you had your thumb up your ass while fortunes were being made all around you? That's what you're going to say if you don't change. The millionaire move is brutal. It's ugly. It's uncomfortable, but it's the only way. You think comfort is your friend, but it's your enemy. Comfort kills ambition. Comfort kills dreams. Comfort is the silent killer that's suffocating you while you smile and nod. Get uncomfortable. Get scared. Get in the fucking arena, because the move you're avoiding is the very thing that will save you. You want self-esteem? You want self-confidence? Earn it. You don't get it by reading books, by meditating, by journaling. You get it by doing hard shit, by stepping into the fire, by making the call, taking the risk, pushing forward when you're terrified. That's how you build it. That's the millionaire move. And let me tell you something about obsession. Every killer I've ever met, every billionaire, every world champion, every legend, they were obsessed, not balanced, not calm, obsessed. They didn't give a fuck about vacations, weekends, me time. They ate, slept, and breathed their mission. They did what they didn't want to do. They lived in discomfort, and that's why they made it. You want to chill. You want to rest. You want balance. That's why you'll never have it. Stop lying to yourself. Stop waiting. Stop being afraid. The millionaire move isn't optional. It's mandatory. And if you don't make it, you'll rot in mediocrity until you die. Let's cut through the bullshit. You already know exactly what the millionaire move is in your life. Don't play dumb. Don't sit there acting confused. Deep down, in that gut of yours, you know the step that terrifies you. Maybe it's leaving the job you hate. Maybe it's starting the business you've been talking about for years. Maybe it's investing in yourself, spending the money, taking the risk. Maybe it's cutting off the deadweight losers you call friends. You know what it is. You've always known, but you've been a coward, too afraid to act. And that's why you're broke, tired, and invisible. invisible. Stop pretending you don't know. Stop lying to yourself. You've been lying for years. I'll do it later. I'm not ready. I need more time. I need more money. I need more education. Bullshit. You don't need more time, more money, or more education. You need more fucking courage. You need to grow some balls and do it now. Because the truth is, there's no perfect time. The stars won't align. The market won't wait. The opportunity won't come knocking twice. You either make the move now, or you lose it forever. Think about the people you idolize. Musk, Gates, Jobs, Bezos. You think they waited until it was safe? You think they asked for permission? No. They jumped when it was risky. They acted when it was scary. They bet everything when the odds were stacked against them. And that's why you know their names. That's why they're in history books and you're not. But you want guarantees. You want certainty. You want a safety net. And that's why you'll never be more than average. Because the millionaire move doesn't come with guarantees. It doesn't come with certainty. It comes with risk, fear, and pain, and you either embrace that or you stay stuck where you are. Let me tell you something about fear. Fear is the compass. If it scares the shit out of you, that's exactly where you need to go. If the thought of quitting your job makes you want to vomit, quit. If the idea of starting the business makes you shake, start it. If investing in that deal makes you sweat, invest. That's the move. The fear isn't a warning to stop. It's the sign you're on the right track. But you've been taught to run from fear. You've been brainwashed to play it safe, and that's why you'll die unfulfilled. Courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is doing the thing while you're still shitting yourself. Every killer I know was scared. Every billionaire I've met felt fear, but they acted anyway. They didn't wait for confidence. They didn't wait until it felt comfortable. They acted, and confidence came later. Action creates confidence. Waiting creates nothing. And here's another truth. You don't fail because you try. You fail because you don't try. You fail because you sit on the sidelines, criticizing, overthinking, waiting for the perfect moment. You think failure is falling down. Wrong. Failure is never taking the step. Failure is rotting in the same spot your whole life because you were too scared to move. I know some of you are thinking, but Dan, what if I lose? What if it doesn't work? Newsflash, you're already losing. You're already failing. You're already broke, stuck, miserable. What more do you have to lose? The only thing worse than failing is never trying. At least if you fail forward. You learn, you grow, you get tougher. But if you never try, you just stay weak. You stay the same. And that's the worst fucking fate of all. Look around at the people you know. How many of them are truly happy? How many of them are living with fire in their eyes, with money in their accounts, with pride in their hearts? None. They're all miserable, lying to themselves, pretending their safe little lives are enough, and you're following their lead. You're copying their mediocrity, and then you wonder why you're just like them. Show me your friends, and I'll show you your future. You hang with losers, you become a loser. You hang with killers, you become a killer. That's how it works. But most of you are too weak to cut ties. You're too scared to stand alone. You'd rather drown in mediocrity with your loser friends than swim toward greatness on your own. And that's why you'll never make the move. I'll give you an example. One of my mentees was terrified to leave his circle of loser buddies. They drank, smoked, wasted their lives, and he kept hanging on, scared of being alone. I told him, cut them off or stay broke forever. It took him a year to finally do it. Within 2 years of walking away, he built a multi-million-dollar company. Why? Because he finally made the move. He finally got the guts to cut the dead weight. That's the millionaire move. Cutting off what's holding you back, no matter how painful. You think you can keep 1 foot in safety and 1 foot in risk. Wrong. You can't. The millionaire move requires both feet in, all in, no backup plan, no safety net, no plan B. Plan B is for losers. If you have a plan B, you've already lost. Burn the ships, cut the rope, jump into the fire. That's the only way. Most of you don't understand obsession. You want balance. You want weekends off. You want Netflix, vacations, self-care. That's why you'll never be rich. Every killer I know was obsessed. They ate, slept, and breathed their mission. They sacrificed everything. And you can't even sacrifice a Friday night. You can't sacrifice your Netflix binge. You can't sacrifice your comfort. That's why you'll never make it. The millionaire move requires obsession. It requires living, breathing, bleeding for the goal. It requires waking up early, staying up late, and grinding while everyone else is sleeping. It requires doing what you don't want to do every single day. That's the price. And if you're not willing to pay it, you don't deserve it. You think you'll get another chance. You think life will give you a do-over. It won't. You get one shot, one life. And every day you waste, every day you stay afraid is one day closer to the grave. You don't have time. You don't have tomorrow. You have now. And now is slipping through your your fingers while you sit there shaking in fear. I don't give a fuck if you like me. I'm not here to be liked. I'm here to tell you the truth. I'm here to rip the blinders off your eyes and shove your face into reality. And the reality is you're scared, you're weak, you're lazy. And until you face that, until you own it, you'll never change. The millionaire move is right in front of you. It's been in front of you for years. And every day you don't make it, you're proving to yourself that you're a coward. That's the truth. You can dress it up, you can lie, you can excuse it. But the truth remains. You're too afraid. And fear will keep you broke until the day you die. So what are you going to do? Keep waiting, keep hiding, keep pretending? Or are you finally going to grow some balls and make the move? Because here's the truth, kids. The world doesn't give a fuck about your fear. The world doesn't care if you're scared, tired, broke, or weak. The world rewards action. The world rewards courage. The world rewards killers. And if you're not willing to join them, you'll be forgotten. Let me drill this into your thick skulls. The millionaire move isn't complicated. It's simple as hell. But it's not easy. Simple doesn't mean easy. Simple means clear. The problem is you don't want simple. You want complicated. You want fancy apps, secret hacks, shiny bullshit. You want something that makes you feel like you're working without actually doing the work. You want busy, not results. And that's why you're broke. The millionaire move is usually one ugly, uncomfortable, boring thing that you refuse to do. That's it. Picking up the phone and dialing 300 strangers, knocking on doors until your knuckles bleed, sending that proposal, pitching that deal, asking that investor. But you won't. You hide behind strategy, behind planning, behind research. Research is just procrastination in a fucking suit. You're not researching. You're avoiding. You're jerking yourself off with busy work. Meanwhile, the killers are moving. They're acting. They're doing the hard, boring, uncomfortable shit every day. And that's why they're making millions while you're making excuses. Stop with the fairy tales. You think success looks glamorous? It doesn't. Success looks like sweat, blood, and tears. Success looks like 18-hour days, like rejection, like humiliation, like fear. Success looks like doing the same painful shit over and over until you break through. You think the millionaire move is one sexy leap? Wrong. It's 1,000 ugly steps that nobody wants to take. And let's talk about rejection. That's the drug you're addicted to avoiding. You'll do anything to avoid being told no, but rejection is the currency of success. Every no buys you one step closer to a yes. You want to make millions? Stack rejections. Eat rejection for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The only people who don't get rejected are the people who don't fucking try. And that's you. That's why you're invisible. One of my mentees once told me, Dan, if you just told me I was 2,000 cold calls away from my first $50 million deal, I would have started dialing day one. That's the mentality. That's the millionaire move. Not, I'll try 20 calls and see how it goes. Not, I'll email a few people and hope they respond. It's relentless, obsessive, daily fucking action until you break through, but you don't want relentless. You want relief. You want to feel good. You want validation. You want pats on the back. Let me tell you something. Nobody's clapping for you. Nobody cares about your effort. Nobody gives a fuck how hard you tried. Results are all that matter. Millions are all that matter. Gold medals, not participation trophies. And speaking of medals, you don't train for bronze. You don't train for silver. You train for gold, or you don't bother. If you're not going for gold, get the fuck out of the way. Don't waste my time. Don't waste your time. Don't pretend you're serious when you're not. The millionaire move requires you to be the first in the building and the last to leave. And yes, that might make you the janitor at first, but eventually that makes you the chairman. My daughter once told me, Daddy, that's just the janitor. And 5 months into her first job, the chairman noticed her light was the first on in the morning and the last off at night. That's how you get noticed. That's how you make the move. Consistency, obsession, relentlessness. But most of you are allergic to hard work. You want shortcuts. You want magic. You want a secret formula. Let me spell it out for you. There is no secret. There is only work. Hard, ugly, daily work. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you'll make the move. Now let's talk about self-sabotage, because that's what most of you are doing every damn day. You dress like shit. You speak like shit. You think like shit. You sabotage yourself before you even get in the game. You don't want opportunity. You're terrified of it. That's why you show up late, half-assed, looking like a slob. Because if you actually looked sharp, spoke sharp, acted sharp, opportunity might show up, and you're too scared of that. You're scared of winning. You're addicted to losing. That's the truth. Some of you are more comfortable losing than winning. Winning scares you. Success scares you. Responsibility scares you. Because if you win, then you have to maintain it. You have to keep going. You can't hide behind excuses anymore. That terrifies you. So you sabotage yourself, you dress down, you avoid calls, you procrastinate because deep down you don't think you deserve success. And why don't you think you deserve it? Because you have no self-esteem, no self-worth. And why don't you have that? Because mommy and daddy fucked you up. They didn't know what they were doing. They raised you soft. They raised you scared. And now here you are, a grown adult still living with the mindset of a scared little kid. But guess what? You can't blame them anymore. You're grown. You're responsible. And if you don't fix it now, you'll stay broken forever. Self-esteem is built by doing, by acting, by making the move. You don't think you deserve it? Earn it. Prove to yourself that you do. That's the only way. The millionaire move requires courage, real courage, not fake Instagram quotes, not positive affirmations. Real courage, the kind that makes your stomach drop, the kind that makes your heart race, the kind that makes you sweat. That's the courage you need. And if you don't feel it, you're not playing big enough. When was the last time you scared yourself? When was the last time you did something that made you sick with fear? If you can't remember, you're not living. You're existing, and existing doesn't build empires. Existing doesn't make millions. Existing doesn't leave a legacy. Stop existing. Start living. Start acting. Start moving, because the millionaire move is waiting for you, and it won't wait forever. And let me tell you something about legacy. All these guys now, the billionaires, the world leaders, they're worried about their legacy. They censor themselves, clean up their image, try to look good for history. Not me. I don't give a fuck about legacy. I care about results. I care about dragging your sorry ass across the finish line. That's my obsession, and that's what you need. Obsession. If you're not obsessed, you're not serious. If you're not consumed by it, you'll never have it. Half-assed effort gets half-assed results. You want millions? Go all in. Burn the ships. Burn the excuses. Burn the comfort. Burn it all. That's the millionaire move. And here's the kicker. Nobody's coming to push you. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's going to hold your hand. You have to do it yourself. You have to push yourself. You have to make the move, even when nobody's watching, even when nobody cares. Especially then. That's when it counts. Because at the end of the day, when the dirt's falling on your coffin, you won't regret what you did. You'll regret what you didn't do. You'll regret the move you were too afraid to make. That's the truth. That's the pain. That's the reality. And if that doesn't light a fire under your ass, nothing will. Here we are, the last round. And let me tell you straight, if everything I've said so far hasn't hit you in the gut, hasn't made you squirm, hasn't pissed you off or lit a fire under your ass, then you're already dead. You're a walking corpse. You've chosen mediocrity as your coffin, and I can't help you. But if there's even one spark inside you, 1 ounce of anger, 1 drop of hunger, then this is it. This is your fucking wake-up call. The millionaire move isn't magic. It's not complicated. It's not hidden. It's right in front of you. It's been in front of you all along. And every day you've ignored it. Every day you've chosen fear instead of courage. Every day you've chosen comfort instead of pain. Every day you've chosen excuses instead of action. That's why you're stuck. That's why you're broke. That's why you hate what you see in the mirror. You think the millionaires are special? You think they're smarter, luckier, born different? Bullshit. They just did what you won't. They made the move. They acted when it was scary. They risked when it was dangerous. They bet when everyone else folded. They went all in while you stayed safe. That's the only difference. You want to know why you're not rich? Because you're a coward. That's it. You don't lack intelligence. You don't lack opportunity. You don't lack resources. You lack courage. You lack the balls to do the thing you know you need to do. That's why you're broke. That's why you're invisible. That's why you'll die forgotten. And let me tell you, being forgotten is the worst fate of all. You think anyone's going to give a shit that you played it safe? That you stayed comfortable? That you didn't rock the boat? Nobody cares. The world only remembers the killers. The ones who had the guts to move. The ones who risked. The ones who acted. Everyone else is dust. So here's the question. What's it going to be for you? Are you going to keep waiting, keep hiding, keep making excuses? Or are you finally going to grow a pair and make the move? Because time is running out. You're not getting younger. You're not getting another chance. This is it. This is your shot. Stop thinking you have time. You don't. Every day you waste is a day closer to the grave. Every day you hesitate is another nail in your coffin. And when that coffin closes, when the dirt falls on your face, you'll regret every move you didn't make. You'll regret every chance you didn't take. You'll regret every time you let fear win. That's the truth. That's the pain waiting for you at the end if you don't act now. So make the move. Quit the job. Start the business. Invest the money. Cut the losers. Find the mentor. Send the email. Make Make the call. Whatever the fuck it is, do it. Do it scared. Do it broke. Do it messy. But do it. That's the only way. Don't wait for confidence. Don't wait for clarity. Don't wait for permission. None of that is coming. Action creates confidence. Action creates clarity. Action creates results. Waiting creates nothing. You think you're protecting yourself by waiting. You're not. You're killing yourself. You're suffocating your dreams. You're burying your potential. You're murdering the millionaire inside you before they ever had a chance to live. And for what? Comfort? Safety? Approval? Fuck that. The millionaire move doesn't care if you're scared. It doesn't care if you're tired. It doesn't care if you're broke. It doesn't care if you're ready. It only cares if you act. That's it. That's the only qualification. Courage, balls, movement. Everything else is noise. And here's the final gut punch. You don't get what you deserve in life. You get what you demand. You get what you fight for. You get what you're willing to bleed for. You deserve nothing. The world owes you nothing. If you want millions, take them. If you want legacy, build it. If you want respect, earn it. Nobody's handing you shit. The move you've been too afraid to make, that's the key. That's the door. That's the fucking gateway to everything you've ever wanted. And it's sitting right there waiting for you. All you have to do is step through it, but you won't unless you grow some balls, unless you finally decide, unless you finally act. So here's my challenge to you. Stop fucking waiting. Stop lying to yourself. Stop hiding behind excuses. Make the move. Today, not tomorrow, not next week, not when it's safe. Today, right now. The second this is over, go do it. Send the email, make the call, quit the job, cut the tie, take the risk, jump. That's the millionaire move. And when you do, everything changes. Your confidence changes. Your self-esteem changes. Your life changes. Your legacy changes. That's the power of one move. That's the difference between being forgotten and being remembered, between being broke and being rich, between being average and being legendary. So what's it going to be? Comfort or courage? Fear or freedom? Regret or results? Mediocrity or millions? The choice is yours. Nobody's making it for you. Nobody's saving you. Nobody's coming. It's you. It's always been you, and it always will be you. Make the move, because if you don't, you'll regret it until the day you die. And when that day comes, when you're whispering your last words into your wife's ear, your son's ear, your daughter's ear, you won't be saying, I regret missing prom, and you'll be saying, I regret the move I never made. Don't let that be your story. Don't let that be your legacy. Don't let that be your final words. Make the move right now.